Hunter x Hunter meets Pokémon, the Nen Master who conquered both worlds. Like, share, and subscribe. Episode 21, The King of Ruins Hunter. A breeze blew by, leaving nothing on the ground, as if Pete had never appeared. Then Lin Ke turned his attention to another man with glasses who was in relatively good condition. Under the stimulation just now, the heart of this office worker-like man began to beat rapidly. The man with the eyes finally worked up the courage to explain to Lin Ke that he definitely did not have the same emotions as Pete. But before he could say anything, the man with glasses saw a pink light flashing quickly in front of his eyes. The next moment they regained consciousness, the three brothers and the bespectacled man appeared in a vast forest. This is a forest outside the Harima ruins. You guys are not bad. At least you are much better than the impression that Pete gave me. Your life is just a casual act on my part, don't take it to heart. Gardevoir, heal them. Gardevoir spread his hands and released circles of pink waves towards the three brothers and sisters. The injuries on the three brothers healed at an extremely fast speed. Healing wave, you can release light waves at the target to restore the opponent's health and heal wounds. The healing effect is determined by the amount of mind energy consumed and the opponent's injury. Seeing with their own eyes, the two people who were dying were about to return to their appearance before entering the ruins. Sitting cross-legged on the ground, the usually calm man with glasses could no longer remain calm, and his mouth opened wide in surprise. Up until now, Lin Ke's Mind Beast has revealed many different abilities. Powerful attack ability, magical Nen removal, efficient healing ability, and you can even use the Nen Beast as a luggage. Even the man with glasses doesn't know if Lin Ke only has these two Mind Beasts. If there were more, wouldn't it be? Lin Ke's display of strength shocked the bespectacled man's original understanding of Nen. This was the most powerful Nen he had ever seen. Lin Ke ignored the man with glasses on the side whose mouth was wide open and his jaw was about to drop, as if he was imitating Gengar eating. Seeing that the three siblings were almost in good condition after being healed by Gardevoir, Lin Ke flashed his body and left the place through teleportation. Only the bewildered man with glasses, the woman in leather clothes, and the hip-hop man who were still unconscious were left. After a long time, the leather-clad woman and the hip-hop man woke up and found themselves inexplicably appearing in a forest. After some wonderful descriptions by the man with glasses, the woman in leather and the hip-hop man finally understood what had just happened. Although they haven't witnessed Lin Ke's great power in person, it speaks volumes that they can be here almost unscathed. The three brothers and sisters are not ungrateful people. Even if they can't help Lin Ke now, they will always remember this life-saving feeling. As hunters, although their strength is not outstanding, if Lin Ke needs to use them one day, it is absolutely his duty to use them. They also firmly believe that existences like Lin Ke will never be unknown, and there will always be times when they become famous. At that time, they will take the initiative to express their gratitude for today's life-saving grace. Unlike the three brothers and sisters who were resting in the forest, Lin Ke had already arrived above the inner city of the Harima ruins. Yes, he's back to this place again. I came here this time to get rid of the last bit of wool in this place. The strong thoughts of death in this inner city are like experience candy in the game to Gengar. Every time he swallows a large group of thoughts of death, his experience value will increase by 1 level. Different from Gardevoir's mysterious protection and healing ringtone, these two are Gardevoir's consumption of his own thoughts to offset his thoughts of death. They are consuming. Gengar's swallowing ability does not require any mental energy, just open and suck in the mouth, just like eating. These thoughts of death that other people turn into disgrace upon hearing will become Gengar's experience and help it grow. Until the last thought of death was swallowed by Gengar, Gengar's information showed that his strength had reached the same A level as Gardevoir. Name, Gengar, strength, A. This kind of improved ability is simply no different from cheating. Lin Ke has a hunch that Gengar is likely to be the first Pokémon in his hands to be promoted from A to S level. There are countless ruins in these 6 continents, which also represent endless thoughts of death. Not to mention the distant Dark Continent, where there will never be a lack of things like thoughts of death, all of which will become Gengar's nourishment. And whether doing these things is good for yourself or for everyone. As his strength increased, the desire to die in the ruins disappeared, allowing countless archaeologists and ruin hunters to fulfill their wishes. If Lin Ke takes the initiative to tell and publicize Gengar's abilities, I'm afraid he will be regarded as the king of the relic hunter soon. This is something that even Jean, the leader of the relic hunters, is far from being able to do. Episode 22, Samok Desert. It didn't take long for people to discover that the thoughts of death in the Harima ruins had mysteriously disappeared. Once this information was spread, it immediately attracted many ruin hunters. Without the hindrance of death thoughts, they were able to reach the interior of the cave unimpeded. There is nothing inside except for the murals in the passage and the lonely altar. Only traces of fierce battles can be seen. As for Peter and the two bodyguards, they had long since been reduced to ashes, without attracting the attention of others, and were considered missing during the expedition. It is these remaining murals that are Hunter's biggest gain from countless ruins. It can help them understand the origin of the Harima ruins and the reasons for their demise. One of them knew some hidden secrets about the ruins. After investigating, Hunter discovered that this place was connected to the Dark Continent. After notifying the top management of the association, the interior of the Halima ruins continued to be sealed off, prohibiting irregular persons from entering. The reported ruins hunter is named Gold. While people were still talking about the changes in the Halima ruins, Lin Ke had already arrived in the eastern part of the Eurubian continent via airship. It is said that there is the largest desert in the world, Samok Desert. The Samok Desert also belongs to the United States of Sahelta and is close to the location of the Harem ruins. This is one of the reasons why Lin Ke chose to come here. Another reason was that he wanted to verify whether his previous guess about the rules of Pokémon gestation was correct. This is the largest desert that occupies about 1/3 of the United States of Sahelta. The Samok Desert is the test site he chose. As Lin Ke expected, he had just stepped into the Samok Desert, and the progress bar symbolizing the birth of Pokémon appeared again in his mind. Apart from expectations, Lin Ke had no emotions of surprise. As this place is known as the largest desert, it is very reasonable for it to be able to breed Pokémon. What he wanted to know was which Pokémon it would be. Most of the Samok Desert area is covered by sand, but there are still many humans living here. People have developed a huge tourism chain through local characteristics. What appears in Lin Ke's eyes is the largest city on the edge of the Samok Desert, and it is also the first stop that people usually choose when traveling here. Tucker City. The endless and extremely thick dark brown city wall isolates most of the sand and dust. Only a small amount of sand and dust drifted in from high altitude fell into the uninhabited corners of the city, making those who stayed here realize that this was a city in the desert. When you come to the city, you will find that the people inside, whether they are locals or outsiders, basically wear the same clothes. The top and bottom are basically white clothes, which can reduce heat absorption. Quite a few people also wrap bands of bandage-like objects around their heads, looking a bit like the Middle Eastern people on Blue Star. At the same time, the skin color is also very similar. Due to long-term high-temperature exposure, most people's skin color is mainly dark brown. Lin Ke couldn't help but think that if he were a hip-hop guy, he would be able to blend in perfectly with the locals here. Due to the vast area, people in the desert have cultivated batches of creatures suitable as mounts through long-term excavation and development. The three-humped camel is one of the most common mounts. Overall, it is similar to the camel on Blue Star, except that the three-humped camel has one more hump. The hump is where camels store energy and water. An extra hump means longer endurance. Moreover, camels are native creatures in the desert. They have extremely strong endurance, can withstand drought and heat, and are cheap to raise. It is the most cost-effective and excellent mount in the desert tourism industry, and it can be regarded as providing a lot of help for local development. Looking at the three-humped camels all over the street, Lin Ke recalled what the old man at the camel rental shop just said. What he said is actually correct, and Lin Ke can feel it even after riding for a while. But this three-humped camel has a huge shortcoming: it's not fast. This camel walks like a leisurely old man taking a walk. It is okay as a mount for sightseeing, but if you need to hurry, this three-humped camel will definitely not be used. Watching the progress bar go up little by little, Lin Ke stopped worrying about whether it was fast or not. Anyway, he was here for a trip this time. Tucker City is very large, but there are not many buildings inside, and they are all very short on average. This may be related to the dust floating in the sky. Most of the buildings are mainly an earthy color, standing on the ground like small bungalows, basically 1 or 2 floors. The exterior earth walls are thicker, but there are many small holes and windows. This is part of the local people's measures to reduce the impact of heat. There is nothing interesting about these bungalows, and Lin Ke's main target is the market area near the center of the city. Since the local economy is mainly driven by tourism, the most things in this city are those that serve tourism. For example, there are B&Bs and hotels everywhere, there are horse rental spots just 2 streets away, and there is also the market area where people gather together. Episode 23, Yellow Pincer and Compass. Sitting on a 3-humped camel, Lin Ke slowly came to the market area. From the moment he arrived in this area, Lin Ke clearly felt that there were more people. This is the most crowded place in the entire city. Both sides of the street are lined with stalls and shops selling local specialties. It's okay to have shops. Those who set up street stalls could only put up a large white cloth on the stall to protect themselves from the sun. Don't miss it if you're passing by. The dried lizard is crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. It's freshly baked and only costs 500 ringgit per head. The fresh and juicy prickly pear cactus is the favorite of three-humped camels. If you want to buy it, be quick. The famous Samok sandworm tastes sweet and delicious after being stewed, and it also has aphrodisiac properties. The first impression left on Lin Ke in this lively market area was that there were many kinds of food. Although most of them are lizards, bugs and the like, this does not affect Lin Ke's appetite for these special things. So Lin Ke walked around and ate, holding dried lizards in his left hand and sandworm meat in his right hand. Especially after hearing about the effects of sandworm meat, Lin Ke bought some more and secretly put them in Gengar's belly. In the past, I would never have dared to eat these things, but now that I am a disabled person, my physical fitness has improved. There is also Gardevoir who can act as a doctor at any time, so Lin Ke can eat freely. After taking away the treasure from the Harima ruins, Lin Ke's wealth has reached a very high level. As he was not short of money, he almost bought one every time he saw it. Even the three-humped camel that was traveling with him also bought him several multi-ball cacti to eat. Swallowing the lizard dry in one bite, a crunching sound came from the mouth. Under the crispy skin are tender and juicy pieces of meat that taste a bit like beef, but more tender. Lin Ke's dream on Blue Star is to travel to various places, see interesting things, and taste delicious food. It wasn't until he came to this world that Lin Ke truly realized his dream. There are many types of food, and not all of them at the market are for food. There are yellow stones that sparkle like gold, and they also sell some clothing and tools needed to explore the desert. What interests Lin Ke the most is the yellow pincer ant compass, a unique specialty in the Samok Desert. Yellow clamped ants are ants that are only found in the Samok Desert and are not found in other deserts. The yellow pincer ant is golden in color and its body is much larger than that of ordinary ants, almost the size of a knuckle. The most eye-catching thing is a pointed tentacle on the top of its head, which is the organ they use to secrete and sense pheromones. The position between yellow pincer ants and the ant nest is determined by pheromones, which are extremely powerful. Through experiments, we learned that yellow pincer ants can still sense the location of their nests even if they are thousands of miles apart. Because each group of yellow pincer ants will only correspond to the ant nest that gave birth to itself. Therefore, people in the Samok area use it as a positioning tool in the desert. It looks relatively simple, just place 5 smaller yellow pincer ants on a round stone plate, and cover the top with a glass cover. The city where these ant nests are located will be written on the side of the compass. For example, the compass Lin Ke is holding points to the city of Boganla hundreds of miles away. It looks quite like the navigation needle in the One Piece world. For most people, getting lost in this desert is equivalent to death. Therefore, the role of this yellow ant compass is very important. Basically, this is a must-have tool for everyone living in the desert. Driven by curiosity, Lin Ke also bought a yellow ant compass. Maybe in the next time, he can try to see if this compass works. The Samok Desert is the third place he went to after coming to the Hunter x Hunter world. The first place that appeared was just a small town, and it was Pai's small casino that introduced him to the world. The second one is Halima City and Halima Ruins, although it can also be regarded as a tourist attraction. But there are not many special things there. Mainly, the history in the Halima Ruins made Lin Ke feel eye-opening. This third place, the Samok Desert, was the most appetizing place he had ever visited so far. This taste is from two aspects, traveling and eating. After wandering around for a while, Lin Ke, who was satisfied, turned the camel's head and drove towards the center of the city, where most hotels are provided for tourists to stay. Seeing that the progress bar is slow, there is a high probability that he will spend a lot of time in the Samok Desert, so Lin Ke plans to stay here first. Then it's time to explore the entire city. If the progress bar is not full after visiting this city, then go to the next desert city and continue shopping. Without worries about money or strength, Lin Ke can do what he wants freely. Others work hard to practice Nen, looking for people to play against each other to gain combat experience, but Lin Ke only needs to keep traveling to become stronger. No one will force him to do something he doesn't like, and no one can force him to do it. Episode 24, Encountering Minchi by Chance. A week later. Now, eat a little as much as you can. Is it because the food I gave you is so good that it spoils your appetite? Lin Ke held a large spherical cactus in front of the three-humped camel, half tempting and half threatening it to eat. The three-humped camel looked at Lin Ke helplessly, with a hunched face. Having grown so big, this week it finally realized what it means to be painful and happy. This time, my employer was very generous and would buy me spherical cactus to eat every day, which I would have never dared to think about before. At the camel rental site, I could only eat ordinary feed every day, and even received it from my mother's cousin. An old three-humped camel learned that many three-humped camels have never eaten a ball-shaped cactus in their lives. But I have a lot to eat every day. But there are too many problems. Seeing that the three-humped camel kept asking him to look at its belly, Lin Ke laughed in embarrassment. The camel's belly, which was originally healthy and well-proportioned and full of muscles, seemed to be pregnant at the moment. It was more than a circle bigger than when it was first rented. At first glance, it looks like a circle of swimming rings being put on the belly of a three-humped camel. Lin Ke wanted to try every novel food she saw this week. Naturally, this also includes portions that are too large, or food that is not to your liking after eating. Adhering to the principle of tasting more varieties, all the things Lin Ke didn't want to eat were stuffed into the belly of the three-humped camel. "Hello, is it convenient for you to talk now?" At this time, a young and capable voice sounded from Lin Ke's ears. Turning his head, he saw a head of blue-green. This is the color in the new version, hair with several sky-high braids. The fair and tender face reveals the fact that the woman is young. The upper body is a conspicuous purple tulle, with a white top on top, and the lower body is bright green shorts. Although she was dressed differently from the one she wore in the original work, Lin Ke still recognized the woman in front of her as Lin Ke, who was the examiner. Lin Ke is a food hunter. If Lin Ke remembers correctly, she should be 20 years old now. He also broke the Hunter Association record and became the youngest one-star hunter. There are 4 levels in the Hunter Association, namely no star, 1 star, 2 stars, and the highest 3 stars. To become a one-star hunter, you must make a significant contribution in a certain field. To become a 2-star hunter, you need to cultivate a 1-star hunter on the premise that you are a 1-star hunter yourself. Finally, those who have made significant contributions in many different fields can be rated as a 3-star hunter. Normally, promotions are based on this set of standards, but there seem to be examples where special circumstances can lead to exceptions. Lin Ke, who became a 1-star hunter at the age of only 20, may not necessarily be very powerful, but she must be extremely talented in the field of gourmet food. Lin Ke on the side didn't know yet, but Lin Ke just glanced at himself and recalled all the information related to him. "What's the matter?" Lin Ke looked at Lin Ke in front of him calmly. Immediately, Lin Ke took Lin Ke to a side alley and explained in detail why he found Lin Ke. "If I'm not wrong, sir, he should be a nemesis, right?" Although it was a question, Lin Ke said it in a positive tone. "Yes, you don't need to call me sir anymore. Just call me by my name. My name is Lin Ke." Hearing this, Lin Ke breathed a sigh of relief, although Lin Ke had not yet listened to his request. From these few words of conversation, she could tell that Lin Ke was an easy-to-get-together person, which also increased the probability of success later. "My name is Lin Ke. I don't mean to disturb you, Lin Ke." It turns out that Lin Ke's goal in coming to the Samok Desert this time was the B-level ingredient, white sand scorpion. Like the yellow pincer ant, the white sand scorpion is unique to the Samok Desert. The difference is that the role of yellow pincer ants is to point the direction, while the white sand scorpion is famous as a food ingredient. Ingredients are also classified in Hunter. Generally speaking, the ingredients eaten by ordinary people are basically D-grade, and C-grade ingredients are considered rarer ingredients. B-level ingredients are already priced out of the market, and even many wealthy people cannot easily obtain them. I remember that the bare paws of the Tamari bear in the original work were in the ranks of B-level ingredients. The illustrated ability is activated. Name, Lin Ke. Strength, B. Nan, Lin Ke's kitchen, manipulator. Most of the decorations and utensils in the kitchen can be manifested with the aid of mind. There are all the tools inside, and you can also attack with the tools inside, such as large knives and forks and flames. Lin Ke is not surprised by Lin Ke's Nan. The embodied kitchen suits her very well. Considering that Lin Ke is 20 years old, Class B is already quite good. There is also hope that he can break through to the A-level range in the future. After all, he is the one who has broken the Hunter Association record. The talent is still outstanding. Episode 25, Lin Ke's request. Normally, with Lin Ke's experience in food hunting and her considerable strength, there should be no problem in catching B-level ingredients. But her goal this time happened to be outside her area of expertise. The white sand scorpion itself is not very powerful and its aggressiveness is relatively weak, but it is extremely fast and is very good at escaping. Even if it takes just a blink of an eye, it may have penetrated into the sand layer hundreds of meters deep. Unparalleled escape speed. This is the main reason why white sand scorpion is classified as a B-level ingredient. The reason why she found Lin Ke can be regarded as a coincidence. The day before yesterday, Lin Ke didn't take the three-humped camel with him when he went out, so he chose to find a corner for Gardevoir to teleport back. This scene happened to be perceived by Lin Ke, who was bargaining outside the alley, through the fluctuations of his mind energy. It is speculated that Lin Ke has Nen related to teleportation. After many days of squatting, we finally reached Lin Ke. Lin Ke didn't know what to say. In the past week, he had teleported to and fro twice, and Lin Ke happened to bump into him once. Well, yes, I can indeed move instantly, but it's my mind beast that has this ability. Lin Ke admitted Lin Ke's guess, while releasing Gardevoir. Looking at the elegant and noble Gardevoir, Lin Ke's eyes flashed with light. The discernment developed through years of experience as a hunter allowed her to see that Gardevoir's strength was definitely not low. Please, no, you. You must form a team with me. Lin Ke held Lin Ke's hands tightly, a pair of green pupils full of determination. If you agree to my request, then I guarantee that I will pay for all the expenses on the road. If there is any danger, I will take care of it. I will cook half of the ingredients for each person. You only need to be responsible for using your teleportation ability to catch the white sand scorpion. Seeing Lin Ke's eyes shining in front of him as he didn't want to let her go, Lin Ke suddenly remembered the scene where Uncle Lu Huang was recruiting talents. If Lin Ke said it this time, "Today I have Lin Ke, I am like a fish in water." That's more like it. Seeing Lin Ke's sincere behavior and Lin Ke being aroused by her description, she felt willing to agree. I promise you, but I have a condition. You said, as long as it's within my capabilities, I'll do it. If you have a chance in the future, take me to a foodie paradise. Lin Ke looked at Lin Ke with a pair of bright eyes in surprise, and raised his brows slightly. Foodie paradise is extremely mysterious. How did Lin Ke know about it? Okay. I'll let you know when the time comes. Foodie Paradise is said to have been created by Lin Odebrew and other like-minded gourmet hunters. Basically only open to the worthy. The location is very secretive, and it is basically impossible to reach that place without a pilot. Lin Ye is an extraordinary figure, the eldest hunter in the Hunter Association. As a gourmet hunter, he teamed up with President Netero to go to the Dark Continent. Also traveling with him was Jaeger of the Zoldyck family, Killua's great-grandfather and Xeno's father. The gourmet paradise created by her is definitely a unique place, and it is very likely to breed Pokémon. Of course Lin Ke also has the idea of going there to enjoy delicious food. Well, although it may not be a good idea to ask like this, it is my responsibility. I must ask about my intentions before taking people there. Is it okay to eat? In the dark corner, Lin Ke took 2 steps back slightly and looked at the man up and down carefully. One's mouth was full of oil, and his left and right hands were holding half-bitten dried scorpion meat. The other's belly was round, as if countless basketballs had been stuffed inside. Haha, no. It's okay. I don't think you are lying. Seeing Lin Ke's pursuit of delicious food, Lin Ke laughed twice, feeling more happy than embarrassed. As a gourmet hunter, her favorite thing is people who love gourmet food. Of course, she must also pursue gourmet food. The kind of people who don't value food and think it can be treated as they please are the type of people she hates the most. This is one of the reasons why she got angry during the hunter exam. After the matter was settled, Lin Ke could be considered to have solved a major matter. Both of them have resolute personalities. Seeing that it was still broad daylight, they immediately decided to set off. Lin Ke didn't have many things, so she carried them all with her, while Lin Ke put everything on Gengar in the shadow. Since the purpose of this trip is to find the elusive white sand scorpion, it will be more efficient for the 2 Nin people to walk. Not long after enjoying the food naturally, the 3-humped camel returned to the rental point and returned to its ordinary life. Episode 26, Lin Ke, it can store items? The sky is filled with yellow sand in the Samok Desert. Countless sand dunes of different sizes stand on the ground. An occasional gust of wind blows up yellow dust like threads. In a yellow world, 3 figures were moving quickly on the sand. The ones coming are Lin Ke, Lin Ke, and Gardevoir. The pace of the 3 of them was so fast that even the flying sand in the sky did not have time to cover the footprints of the 3 of them. Leave 3 long straight lines straight. Lin Ke holds a map of the Samok Desert in his left hand and a yellow ant compass in his right hand. In the vast desert, they must always know where they are. White sand scorpions have no fixed distribution location, and their scarcity can only be found by chance. If you are lucky, you can meet it within a day. If you are not lucky, then they couldn't just wander around because of this. If there was something wrong with the yellow ant compass, it would be bad for the 2 of them to get lost in the desert. So although they were looking for the white sand scorpion whose location they didn't know, generally speaking, the path they took was from one city to another. This can effectively avoid the risk of getting lost in the desert. There are really few white sand scorpions, and I don't know how long it will take to find them. Originally, Minchi was still worried about this. Even if Gardevoir could catch the white sand scorpion, how could he catch the white sand scorpion if he couldn't even see a pincer? Although she can use yuan, she can't use it all the time because it would consume too much. Circle is an advanced technique used by Nen. The amount of space that can be released varies according to each person's strength. Generally speaking, Nen users of Transmuter are better at using Circle than Nen users of other types. This may be because the principle of using Circle is to release the thought energy in the form of space. Every move of things in this space will be detected, and the price will be high. Until Lin Ke took the initiative to inform him that Gardevoir not only has the ability to teleport, but also has the function of perception, and can be used around the clock. Manchitsai beamed with joy and kept patting Lin Ke on the shoulder and said that she had really found a treasure. Lin Ke's ability is really suitable for the current situation. Now there is no shortage of perception ability and catching ability, but a little luck. But it seemed that the goddess of luck had no intention of visiting the two of them. Until that night, they didn't find the white sand scorpion, but considering it was only the first day, they didn't say anything. In this vast desert, it is naturally impossible to sleep in the city every day. Minchi opened the portable tent he had brought with him and placed it in place. Today they were going to camp in the wild. And this is the first day, and most likely not the last. Portable tents are very convenient. They are usually just a brick-sized block. After clicking the button above with a little force, the block will quickly transform into a strong tent. Because this kind of tent is too expensive, it is rarely used in the desert. Seeing Lin Ke standing next to her, Menchi thought it was Lin Ke who had forgotten to buy a tent, so she reached for her backpack. She planned to give Lin Ke her spare tent. As soon as the second tent was taken out, Menchi saw an incredible scene. Gengar, spit out the tent. Lin Ke said to the void, his face full of calm. What Gengar? Is he talking to me? Menchi turned to look at Lin Ke and saw a cloud of purple-black gas emerging from Lin Ke's shadow. Although it was a ball of gas, Menchi saw a pair of scarlet eyes, a wide mouth and short limbs. Immediately afterwards, a luxury tent that had been set up was spit out from the mouth of the unknown creature. Spit out from the mouth? No. This is another mind beast of yours? Menchi suppressed the surprise in her heart and asked with a puzzled look on her face. Yes, his name is Gengar. He can store things. I will be fine if I put all my belongings in his belly. Lin Ke touched the head of the cute Gungue next to him and said with a smile. At this time, Gungue was grinning and making faces at Minchi. It seems that every Gengar has a hobby of playing pranks. So cute. Looking at Gungue making faces, Minchi blushed slightly and murmured softly. Then she realized another important point, pointed at Gengar and shouted loudly, "It can store items without any problems?" The loud exclamation woke up the sleeping sand tapirs on the dunes in the distance. When nothing happened, it scratched its round belly, turned over and continued to sleep. Right. Lin Ke was a little confused, why Menchi was surprised twice. In the next scene, Lin Ke saw the second face-changing master's performance that he had seen since entering the world of Hunter x Hunter. The first is Casino Owner Pies. Menchi's face seemed to be out of control, staring at Gengar's big belly with joy at first, then pity, and finally frustration. Lin Ke asked quickly, and Menchi explained with a faint look. Episode 27, the so-called Gourmet Hunter. Menchi is already quite powerful in Food Hunter, and she has always been proud of her Nen. Menchi's kitchen allows her to carry kitchen utensils in large and small bags everywhere. Compared to other delicacies, Hunter is much more convenient. Despite this, she still has to face a problem that basically all food hunters face. That's the problem of food preservation. Especially for a gourmet hunter like her who has extremely high requirements for food quality, it is easy to worry about this problem. Ingredients all have a shelf life, or should be described by a shelf life. Most of the ingredients that have just been caught are fresher than those that have been stored for many days. Food the food hunter hunts is usually found in remote mountains and forests, in inaccessible places, and it is impossible to carry a large refrigerator with you. So this space system Nen that can store items is particularly important to them. It's a pity that space-type ninjas are extremely rare, and ordinary ninjas can't even be seen. Hearing this, Lin Ke couldn't help but think of Nobu in the Ant Crusade team. His Nen fourth-dimensional apartment is the space system Nen, which allows people or objects to hide in it, which is very convenient. It wasn't until Lin Ke listened to everything that he understood why Lin Ke behaved like this. I'm happy to have made a friend with the space system Nen. The pity and frustration are naturally because I don't have it anymore. After saying this, Lin Ke also realized that he had lost his composure and controlled his expression. But those smart eyes were still staring at the confused Gengar. The longing in their eyes was beyond words. Gengar ducked sideways and hid behind Lin Ke, with only half of his head exposed. He pulled Lin Ke's clothes and shouted softly. Ha 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 ha. Lin Ke laughed heartily, with tears even faintly appearing in the corners of his eyes. Lin Ke, the only one who didn't understand, was at a loss. Gengar just told me, do you want to eat it? Lin Ke suddenly realized this and was too embarrassed to stare at Gengar anymore. Lin Ke immediately comforted him, it's okay. If you need it in the future, just ask me for help. Of course, remember to let me taste it after you make it. Looking at Lin Ke with a sincere face, Lin Ke slowly nodded in agreement, and the joy in her heart reached its peak at this moment. I no longer have to worry about it. My friend has it, which means I have it. Lin Ke is like an endless treasure in her eyes. After a while, an ability that surprises her will appear. After some exchanges, the relationship between the two became more familiar. There was still some unfamiliarity between them, but it disappeared after Gengar jumped out. Dinner is desert specialties, provided by Lin Ke. The ingredients are all very rare desert ingredients. For example, the crispy belly meat of the sandworm king, the sweet juice from the fruit of the sand tree that only bears once a year. What surprised Lin Ke the most was not these dishes, but the small butterfly sauce in the middle. Picking up a piece of sandworm meat, Lin Ke dipped it into the sauce and stuffed it into his mouth to chew. The elastic sandworm meat is wrapped in a rich sauce, and the extremely fresh taste instantly pops up in Lin Ke's mouth. This is a sauce made from seafood? The taste is very complex and multi-layered, and there should be many types of ingredients? That's right, this sauce is made from the best parts of 5 C-grade ingredients and 4 B-grade ingredients from the ocean. I call it the most delicious. Lin Ke tasted it carefully again. The ingredients in the desert were paired with the essence extracted from the ocean. The two seemed to have some kind of chemical reaction, creating the ultimate delicious taste in Lin Ke's mouth. Sandworm meat is slightly dry and has a single taste. If you eat too much, it will make you feel tired. With the combination of extremely fresh, the original shortcomings are instantly made up for, completely raising the level of deliciousness by several levels. This is Food Hunter's work. Staring at the food on the table, Lin Ke secretly sighed. Hunt different rare ingredients and use your own understanding of cooking to make satisfying food and pursue the pinnacle of food. This is Food Hunter. With the full force of the two people, the food on the table was swept away, and with a snap of Lin Ke's fingers, all the plates disappeared. These tableware are all realized by Lin Ke using non-utensils. In the past, the delicacies Lin Ke tasted were only delicacies among ordinary people. After eating the food made by Lin Ke today, Lin Ke realized how delicious the Food Hunter was pursuing was. This is the food in Lin Ke's mind. Lin Ke licked the corner of his mouth, recalling the unprecedented feeling just now, and sighed, food is really the best gift in the world. What do you think? I will become a food hunter after I become a hunter. Okay, I'm glad you have this idea. You have another like-minded person. Wait, you haven't passed the hunter exam yet? Halfway through Lin Ke's words, he looked at the leisurely Lin Ke next to him in surprise. Episode 28, The Sand Pirate Who Overestimates His Capabilities. Is there any problem? I didn't have the idea of becoming a hunter before, and naturally, I never took the hunter exam. There's no problem, it's just. Lin Ke recalled Lin Ke's 2 mind beasts. Without deliberately covering up, she could see that each one was at least as strong as her own. A being with such strength has not yet taken the hunter exam? Then was Lin Ke led on the path of none by another none? This is why Lin Ke was surprised. Lin Ke seemed to see the reason for Lin Ke's surprise. He touched the tip of his nose and said with some embarrassment, actually, I opened aura nodes naturally, and then also figured it out on his own. After hearing this, Lin Ke felt even more numb. He felt that he had not been as surprised as he was today this whole year. However, Lin Ke gradually felt relieved when she thought about how big the world is and how few people are born with talent, but there are still some. Lin Ke, is this really normal? Decent strength, the ability to move instantaneously, the perception ability comparable to a circle, the space ability to store things. Then Lin Ke recalled something, smiled and winked, and said playfully, if you choose to take the next hunter exam, there will be a surprise. Oh, really? Then I'll have to look forward to it. Lin Ke pretended not to know that Lin Ke would be the examiner next year and smiled back. After eating and drinking, the two of them got into their tents to rest, with the stars shining in the sky above their heads. 3 days later. I said, aren't our luck too bad? The two searched for 3 days in a row, but found no sign of the white sand scorpion. They even found one of the equally rare wild yellow pincer ant nest, but the target never appeared. Today, a group of uninvited guests came to our door. In front of Lin Ke and Minchi were a group of vicious people. They basically wear light armor made of animal fur. This kind of armor is not heavy, but has considerable defensive power. Under their seat was a 3-humped camel, covered with iron armor, and a few captured sandworms could be faintly seen on their cart. Sand pirate. Narrowing his eyes slightly, Lin Ke looked at the sand pirate in front of him and thought, with a cold look on his face. Sand pirates can also be regarded as a native specialty in the desert, especially in the largest desert, the Samok Desert, where they are extremely numerous. Because they uphold the style of bullying the weak and fearing the strong, and running away when something goes wrong, the sand bandits are extremely disgusting in this vast desert. Just Lin Ke's pretty face, Menchi's immature face, and Gardevoir, who looks like a strange monster among people who don't know how to read. Perfectly in line with the goals of the sand pirates. Moreover, the scale of the sand pirates in front of them is not small, with a rough calculation of at least 20 people. Since the sand bandits are relatively scattered, they can be regarded as medium-sized sand bandits in the Samok Desert. A one-eyed sand bandit standing in the front row looked at Minchi, licked his tongue and smiled lewdly at the scarred man sitting on the 3-humped camel beside him. Hey, boss, that woman is so good, how about leaving it to me? The one-eyed sand bandit's words seemed to be the beginning. All of a sudden, the sand bandits started arguing passionately, saying words like I'm determined. Scarface glared at the one-eyed sand pirate fiercely, and snorted, you kid. I must enjoy this level of food myself. Don't even think about it. Under the unabashed conversation of the sand pirates, the voices also reached the ears of the prey duo. Lin Ke rubbed the temples on his head and looked helplessly at Minchi, who had blue veins popping up on his forehead. He picked up the kettle on his waist and took a sip. He said softly to his side, how about it? Are you going to do it or should I do it? Minchi took a deep breath, a bloody smile appeared on her sweet face, and there was a strong coldness in her eyes. I'll do it. Minchi walked forward step by step, leaving deep footprints on the fine yellow sand. The sand bandits on the opposite side burst into laughter when they saw Minchi approaching alone. Only a few vigilant sand bandits held knives in their hands. Minchi threw his hands back hard, and huge thoughts surged out of his palms. Almost instantly, a pair of giant knives and forks transformed from mental energy appeared behind Minchi. The whole body of the knife and fork exudes a silvery white light, and the tip gives people a sharp feeling that is about to pierce the eyebrows. What is this? Knives and forks? Why do such big knives and forks suddenly appear? Idiot, run. The noise of the sand thieves did not last long, because when Minchi revealed the knives and forks, he controlled them to stab the sand thieves at high speed. Even Minchi felt that a pair of knives and forks was not enough, so every time he threw out a pair, another pair of knives and forks quickly materialized. Each shot is as powerful as a grenade. Boom boom boom. After bursts of explosions that resounded through the sky, the sand bandits were completely defeated, and not even a single person was left alive. Countless amounts of yellow sand splashed wildly after the explosion, drifting farther away. The sand bandit who was laughing at Minchi 1 second, can only go to hell to laugh at him the next second, if there really is a hell. This attack method reminds Lin Ke of Aru in The Prisoner of Food. His main attack method is to use his hands as knives and forks to attack. It can only be said that these sand pirates are really ignorant of Minchi's strength. They only need to throw out a few random attacks to wipe you out. Episode 29, The White Sand Scorpion King. The appearance of the sand pirate was just a small episode for the two of them these days, and it didn't change anything. The white sand scorpion was still nowhere to be found. Until the night of the 5th day. Deep in the Samok Desert, this place belongs to the eastern part of the Ulubian continent. Seeing that it was getting dark, the two decided to camp on the spot. In the past few days, the two of them had only spent one night in the city, and the rest of the time they spent camping in the wild. What they didn't expect was that sometimes luck is just around the corner. Shauna. Gardevoir stood next to Lin Ke, suddenly looked at the sand layer not far away, and said solemnly. Under the moonlight, there is a faint silvery reflection on the surface of the sand layer. Finally found it? Lin Ke put down the tent in his hand and looked happy. He has had enough of the rough and tumble days outside. Every day I just walk on the endless desert, and all I see is sand. The whole world seemed to be covered in yellow paint, with only the occasional cacti embellishing it with a little green. Fortunately, Gardevoir finally discovered the whereabouts of the white sand scorpion. Have you finally discovered the white sand scorpion? Menchie asked nervously, with a sullen face. She had also been looking forward to this for a long time. A few days of traveling in the desert had left her originally fair and tender face quite tanned. No matter how dark it was, she would be as tanned as a hip-hop man. Lin Ke glanced at Gardevoir, and immediately Gardevoir disappeared, and the next moment he appeared out of thin air over the sand dunes ahead. A gentle breeze blew through the clear night sky, blowing the tips of Gardevoir's light green hair. Gardevoir stood in the air with her eyes closed. Suddenly Gardevoir opened his eyes. His beautiful ruby-like eyes were covered with pink thought energy, and his arms were also covered with a touch of pink. It was supposed to be an imposing move, but under Gardevoir's deliberate suppression, it didn't stir up a trace of dust below. This is to prevent the white sand scorpion that was finally found from escaping. The white sand scorpion hiding in the shallower sand layer seemed to feel some kind of crisis, and its body trembled slightly, as if it was about to dive into the depths. But it's still a step too slow. In an instant, a white sand scorpion with a body as big as two people flew out of the sand wrapped in a huge ball of pink thought energy. Gardevoir directly used the precise manipulation of his mind power to use his mind energy as a cloth bag to lift up the white sand scorpion. This can also avoid damage to food materials during battle. Looking at the white sand scorpion lying motionless in front of him with circles in his eyes, Lin Ke always had an unreal feeling. I had given up all hope, but when I turned around, you said the ingredients were right in front of me? This is not the white sand scorpion. An exclamation came from his ears. Lin Ke slapped his forehead and said helplessly, I knew it wouldn't be so easy. This is the king of white sand scorpions, the white sand scorpion king. Menchie looked at the unconscious Baisha scorpion king carefully and said solemnly. It turns out that the size of the white sand scorpion is generally about the size of a human body, but the white sand scorpion in front of you is twice the size of the normal size. And it can also be seen from the golden tail spines. The tail stings of ordinary white sand scorpions are white, but the king of the race is golden. All signs indicate that the one Gardevoir caught is not an ordinary white sand scorpion, but the white sand scorpion king. The white sand scorpion is already hard to find, and the white sand scorpion king is one of the best. The rarity alone is almost comparable to A-grade ingredients. After Menchie's professional explanation, Lin Ke finally understood the difference between the two and couldn't help but sigh. The goddess of love and luck doesn't hate them, she's just trying to hold them back. Looking at the white sand scorpion king covered with a silver-white hard carapace, and thinking of the desert species on Blue Star, Lin Ke had a vague suspicion in his mind. Perhaps the appearance of white sand scorpions on the sand surface is not an accident. The daily temperature difference in the desert is large. During the day, the surface layer is hot and the deep layers are cool. At night, the surface layer is cool and the deep layers are hot. In order to control the body surface temperature, white sand scorpions usually hide deep under the desert during the day. It wasn't until the temperature dropped at night that it reached the surface sand layer, which was easily discovered by Gardevoir. Looking at the unconscious white sand scorpion king, Menchie's eyelids kept twitching. She still far underestimated Gardevoir's strength. Lin Ke may not know much about this, but as a professional gourmet hunter, Menchie naturally has a sufficient understanding of the target white sand scorpion. Ordinary white sand scorpions are already difficult to catch due to their extreme speed. As a king, the white sand scorpion king is not only faster, but also has considerable combat power. This can be seen from the pair of huge, ferocious scorpion pincers that are still faintly glowing, as well as the golden tail sting. Gardevoir can capture the white sand scorpion king without even needing a full burst of strength. You must know that it is much more difficult to capture alive than to kill him. Menchie's eyes were very complicated as she stared at Lin Ke, who was thinking, is the scorpion's daddy poisonous? Before this trip to the desert, she knew that there were many people who were better than herself. Compared to people of the same age, he can be considered a leader. She is even more proud of her record as the youngest hunter star in the Hunter Association. Since meeting Lin Ke, her 3 views have been constantly broken, and she often questions whether she is really powerful. Why do I seem to have no advantage compared to Lin Ke except my ability to cook delicious food? Episode 30, Menchie's Nan. Lin Ke didn't know about Menchie's broken Taoist heart. He thought that the other person's eyes were dull because he was thinking about how to deal with the white sand scorpion king later. Even if he knew, he would probably only pat the other person on the shoulder and say a few words of comfort. How can a genius be compared with a bastard? After some inner theater activities, the confusion in Menchie's eyes disappeared again, replaced by determination. As a gourmet hunter, she should not doubt herself, but should work harder to grow. The first step of your efforts is to take care of the white sand scorpion king in front of you. Lin Ke didn't know about these psychological activities. Only Gardevoir next to him sensed some emotional changes and didn't pay too much attention to them. You can rest nearby first, and then leave it to me. Menchi stood next to Lin Ke and gently rolled up his sleeves, speaking in an unusually serious tone. Lin Ke glanced at Menchi. He didn't know why Menchi seemed to be radiant. He was full of confidence from beginning to end. Lin Ke only thought that this was caused by Menchi being too excited about the rare ingredients that she had finally obtained. When it comes to eating, Lin Ke can say that he knows a little bit, but when it comes to making, he knows nothing about it. So Lin Ke sat obediently on the sand dune next to him, ready to appreciate the making process of Menchi. Menchi stood in front of the huge white sand scorpion king, with his hands spread in the air. In an instant, a transparent platform made of thoughts extended from the ground, raising the white sand scorpion king to a suitable height. Then a pair of silver-white sharp knives of a suitable size appeared in Menchi's hands. She wanted to dismember the white sand scorpion king first. Most parts of the white sand scorpion king's body are covered with relatively stiff carapace, so Menchi needs to use a sharp knife to start from the gaps between the carapace. Suddenly, in Lin Ke's eyes, Menchi was like an elegant music conductor on the stage, with a pair of sharp knives flying like a baton. 3 times 5 divided by 2. The originally huge white sand scorpion king was broken down into multiple parts and placed on the table one by one after classification. This is classified according to the method of consumption. For example, the belly of Baisha scorpion king is the most tender part of the body and has the best taste, so it is suitable for making soup. The place where the back connects to the tail tends to produce a fishy smell, but it has a crispy texture and is suitable for braised or braised dishes. The meat of the 2 huge scorpion claws is firm and full of flavor. It is best to be steamed without destroying the original flavor. While Menchi was making it, he was still explaining the steps and purpose of his own production to Lin Ke. Because she knows that Lin Ke has the intention to be a gourmet hunter, it would be helpful to explain it to him. After the sorting work was completed and the cooking process came, Lin Ke realized the convenience of Menchi Nen. In the past, I only knew that she could materialize some kitchen utensils, but I never thought there were so many ways. Looking at the row of kitchen utensils made of mind energy in front of him, the corners of Lin Ke's mouth twitched slightly. In the middle is a table for placing the parts of the white sand scorpion king, and on the left is a boiler for steaming. On the right is an iron pot used for braised food. Under the iron pot is a stove that is constantly emitting flames. Seeing this, Lin Ke realized how rare space system Nen is, otherwise the Nen of Menchi's kitchen must have a refrigerator function. There is a high probability that the storage function of the refrigerator involves the use of space, so it could not be produced. The boilers and other tools now embodied by Menchi are just carriers for making delicious food. If you remove the thought energy, the contents will fall out instead of being kept inside. It is undeniable that there are still many highlights, such as the flame function of the stove, which is obviously not within the scope of manipulator. This is Menchi involved in the development of conjurer. Conjurer is adjacent to manipulator. As manipulator, Menchi can exert 80% of conjurer's power. Considering that Menchi is extremely close to A-level strength, even if he can only use 80% of his power. The intensity of this flame was far greater than the small flame of bodyguard number 2 before. Finally, under Menchi's confident, full effort, a huge amount of 3 dishes and 1 soup were freshly baked. Looking at the steaming dishes on the table, a strong aroma hit his face, and Lin Ke could vaguely see the golden light on it. If you eat it later, you won't burst into tears because it's so delicious, right? After a while, several people sat in a circle in front of the round table, with Menchi, Lin Ke, Gardevoir, and Gengar sitting respectively. After some discussion, the 2 decided to share it with Gardevoir and Gengar. Menchi didn't pay attention to why the Nyan beast could eat. Now she feels that no matter what she finds on Lin Ke, she will no longer be surprised. The original plan was to capture the white sand scorpion and feed it to 2 people, but now it was the white sand scorpion king that was twice as big, and naturally the 2 of them couldn't finish it. Coupled with the dedication of the 2 Nyan beasts and the principle of not wasting food, the 2 Nyan beasts started the long-awaited meal.